Good morning, my loves. Happy Saturday. It's a Saturday Ascension update today, and it's a little bit on the busy side yesterday, so I thought, why not get myself out for a walk this morning? And the thing is, it's been such a late sunrise that I've done the majority of my walk now, just as it's starting to get light enough to record a bit. So I'm going to gently meander and chat. This is the first of my updates of the year. It'll either be on a Friday or a Saturday. Just make sure I haven't left anything on the log. And just gently and purposefully, with positive intention, weave into what all of us are feeling is going to be a very changeable, very magical year. So what do I want to talk about this morning, apart from, first of all, wish you all a happy January, happy New Year, whether you look at this as the new year or whether you regard the date in April as the new year. It's a bit irrelevant, really. We are moving into a new platform of energy, and you might have seen previous updates where I've spoken about this and talked about what we can expect. And there's something which has been on my mind for quite some time now, and it's the subject of what I call the golden ratio. Now, the golden ratio is also a mathematical term. This is mathematical, but it's not got anything to do with the Fibonacci. It is simply a 50-50 split of people that have sprung into a state of awakening and people who still haven't. And the initial target, the 50-50, was designated to be achieved by the December Solstice. So it's been and gone, and we had the most amazing downloads of light. We're all still integrating. It's worth noting that there's been a huge amount of kind of almost quite an intensive physical reaction to this. Lots of people dropping density, being unwell. You can either point at the triggers in the field and say that caused this, or you can look at the way that the light body chooses to accept circumstances and kind of piggyback them in order to achieve what we need to do, which is drop density, make room for light in the field. So if you're listening to this and you've been clobbered, my heart goes out to you. You're not alone. Lots of people have. Such was the intensity of the light that came in. It kind of went without saying, really, that was going to provoke a reaction within us. And so I digress slightly. Back to the subject of the golden ratio, the 50-50 split. We didn't quite make it, okay? Now, funnily enough, I had a conversation with my good friend Lexi Wrightson, and she predicted that this would occur. And for those of you that know Lexi, she's also known as Morgana Sophia Astrologer, and she said that she'd received higher communication, that we were all being distracted, and that we were going to get a galactic or a cosmic bollocking from the powers that be for being so. But I think this it goes without saying that we have had an incredible amount of opposition from the matrix, the fields, and so I tuned into this. I tuned into what was going on, And I was told very clearly that that final 1%, we're at 49% at the moment, which is grand, considering that we've begun 2024 at 37%. If you think about it on a scale of people waking up on this planet, to move from 37% to 49% in the spot. I'm turning back. I've gone down a path with no access to it. Welcome to my icy morning adventure. So yeah, 49%, massive achievement. We should all be patting ourselves on the back for that, because all of us did that together. But we also have to be mindful and take a bit of responsibility for the fact that a huge amount of fear has and is being felt in the field by many of us. Fear. It's the biggest enemy, if you can look at it from a standpoint of having enemies at a fifth dimensional frequency, which we shouldn't. But it is our biggest obstacle. And the 3D matrix is an expert at creating it. The matrix has money, it has time, it has forward planning, and most of all, it has it has the conniving little whatsits that are actually doing it in the first place. So it has that advantage. And it's had years and years and years, decades, centuries, millennia to prepare for what's going on at the moment and push back to resist with everything that it has. So the information I received was that 1%, that last percent, where we are now, would be the hardest to achieve. They would resist and create and try and magic their way out of that final percentage until they have nothing left to give. So, what are we going to do about that? There is no other option at this moment than to move into this year, our circumstances, everything that we're experiencing, in a state of joy. If we don't, we join that energy. If we go into this year believing that we have to fight, that we have an enemy, all we're simply doing is adding to that frequency. You've heard me saying this so many times, and there's so many other people out there saying it as well. But again, how responsible are we for being part of this? Have we spoken in fear? Have we spread fear? Have we shared messages that will naturally trigger and worry other people? And when we do this, when we shout our truths from the rooftops, apart from to share information that in many cases a lot of other people already know, what purpose does it serve? Is it providing solutions? So this year, as well as approaching everything that we do with lightheartedness and joy, it's going to be a year of providing solutions. So not only do we turn up in our highest, our brightest form, wearing our best aura cloak, shining, iridescent, we also are starting to think together about how we are going to co-create our fifth dimensional alternative. And I've seen so many beautiful kind of markers or pieces of evidence that this is happening by speaking to people directly who are sewn into the institutions that we are, for want of a better words, changing, alchemizing. It's happening from within. So it's going to require a lot of trust on our behalf to do the work that we do and know that it is having a resonant effect. Because once we hit that 50, it's almost like a box of fireworks goes off. The format and the energy in the field completely changes. So whilst we're at 49%, as we are now, and I'll say it because I was watching it, we even dipped back to 48 at one point, going backwards because the fear levels were rising so high in the fields. Everybody was wound up. And also, you have to look at natural flows and cycles of energy. So say, for example, when a lot of us become unwell, physically unwell, our bodies are dropping density, they're asking us to change what we do, the food that we eat, the medicines that we take, the liquids and the drink that we put in our body, the mind fuel, the spiritual fuel. While our bodies are dropping density and asking us to review that and to change it, in many times our frequency will temporarily drop. That is that's natural. It's perfectly natural when we become physically unwell for our, just our vibration to dip. And because it happened to so many of us simultaneously in the field, that had an effect on the overall percentage. Only temporarily, because it bounced back again very quickly. But the pushback, the fear, what the matrix is trying to do is intensive. So it's everything's coming out the box. I don't need to go through a checklist of the things that are occurring in our lives. We can see it, we can sense it, we can feel it, we perceive it. It's going on all around us. So we just continue to do what we do in a state of happiness and move forwards. And before you know it, probably quite subtly, without too much of a fanfare, because I know that's the way that these field energies work, that last percentage will click into place. There won't be a huge party or a light carnival. It will simply occur, the field will change and the frequencies will begin to be implemented at a high level. That's the way it works. So my lovelies, what a day to be walking around in the woods, enjoying this mixture of it's very cold, but while I was waiting for the sun to come up, it also started to drizzle, so the weather is changing in the UK. And even though in these early days of January I can already see that the light is beginning to return, the evenings are just that tiny little bit longer, and before you know it, it'll be in bulk. And that's a time of year that I always look forward to so much. In fact, I think it's probably one of my favourite marker points in bulk. Always has been. Just love the energy of it coming through. So it's all down to us now. Just relax, take our turn at the front when we need to. So many people are going to be coming out of their shells this year. The good thing, I know it always feels counterproductive, the good thing about intensive actions of the matrix is they only serve to wake people up. So when you see things that are going on that are so obvious, you're almost like, oh my God, why can't anybody see that? You know, it's not your spiritual responsibility to shake people and wake them up. They have to realise and learn that by themselves. So, it's going to be a slightly shorter one from me this morning. My nose is running. I need to get back to the car now. So, I am going to be joined by Mia tomorrow at Mia Kapkios at 7 p.m. tomorrow, UK time, for igniting your New Year coding. First of the really powerful Zoom online events. And then on Tuesday, on the 7th, I'm going to be with Jackie White for bringing joy into the new year. So I'll put the event details underneath this video and sending you all so much love from the woods and from my heart to yours. See you all soon. Bye for now.